Steve, on behalf of millions of fans the world over, let me say that you demonstrate the best of our sport, a passion for our game, a commitment to your community, and engagement with our fans. Sometimes we talk about the values of sport. You live them, the most important being interdependence. You had a great year, great statistics, but your teammates had a great year because of you, and your team won its division. What more could we say? Then congratulations, Steve Nash, 2005-2006 NBA Most Valuable Player.
Ladies and gentlemen, Suns guard and back-to-back NBA Most...
Welcome, everyone, to Phoenix, Arizona in the opening game of the second round of the Western Conference semifinals. It features the Los Angeles Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. With Doug Collins and Frank Sager, this is Kevin Harlan here now tonight's McDonald's starting lineups. The LA Clippers took care of the Denver Nuggets in the first round, 4-1. And the Phoenix Suns beat the Los Angeles Lakers in 7, 4-3. Doug, some of the numbers, some of the names with these two teams. We haven't seen the Los Angeles Clippers in about a week. They made pretty short order of the Denver Nuggets. It's rest versus rust for LA.
Well, Kevin, this could be a game where maybe the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game, LA has a little bit of a struggle trying to get themselves going, but you know they will respond here tonight. It's such a great thing for a guy like Elton Brand. The people throughout the United States don't get to see this guy play that often. A terrific player, a top MVP candidate throughout the year. Cuttino Mobley, Sam Cassell, Quentin Ross, Chris Kaman. They're strong on the inside, and their game plan is to do what the Lakers did here, to try to force that ball inside. They think their big guys are better than the Lakers' big men, and they have a huge advantage inside.
Our officials tonight, Jimmy Clark, Bernie Fryer, and Monty McCutcheon. Go inside, and quickly the combination with Sean Marion. Getting it from Boris Diaw.
Well, Diaw really came on strong those last 4 games. He and Barbosa really were the difference in that series being swung in the favor of the Phoenix Suns.
Los Angeles Clippers in their first postseason second-round series in years. First time in the playoffs since 1997. As Chris Kaman is heard from inside.
Very fundamentally sound player. Here's Nash going to the basket, kicking out these threes. This is what the Suns like to do.
Well, with the miss and a pickup offensively by Steve Nash, the first offensive rebound since early first quarter, Game 7 against the Lakers. And James Jones for 2.
James Jones defensively now is going to play on Quentin Ross, Kevin, but he's going to be the roamer. You see where he is. He's going to give him all kinds of room, and this is what Quentin Ross is going to have to do. He's going to have to be aggressive and make James Jones pay for trying to double team down on Kaman and on Elton Brand.
Jones picks up the foul, and Quentin Ross, who is out of SMU, will be at the free throw line for the Los Angeles Clippers. Here's some of the keys tonight, Doug.
Well, anytime you defend against the Suns, what are you going to do with Steve Nash? 2-time MVP, just got his trophy here tonight. The three-point line, Phoenix is first in makes at over 10 on the season. The Clippers last at under 4 makes. The Elton Brand factor, look what he did in the season, almost 25 points, almost 11 rebounds. Again, Kevin, he was one of the top 5 candidates for MVP most of the season. And the bench advantage, the Clippers 39 points in their last 3 games, but the Suns bench came alive as well with Barbosa and Tim Thomas, so we'll have to watch who gets the edge on the bench. I love these first games here. You get an idea where coaches think they can attack and where their advantages are.
Diaw taking it inside. Doug, it seemed too in that Los Angeles Lakers series when ball movement became more of an easy thing for the Suns to do, they began to win.
Well, that's when they shoot a high percentage because then their shots are not contested. I thought early they were hesitant, and as the series went on, the better they moved the ball, their offensive numbers went sky high.
There's a foul. Nash was down low trying to work on Cassell. And the first foul's charged on the MVP, Steve Nash.
Now, Sam Cassell loves to post up smaller guards, so he's going to go down on the block. And you see James Jones, see how far he's laying off. He's going to be the guy who's going to roam tonight. So they're going to make Quentin Ross shoot jump shots.
Here is Ross, former WAC Player of the Year. With Cassell, the shot clock is down to 5. Quick double on Elton Brand. They got to fire. No time left. Shot clock violation. Pretty good Phoenix defense.
That's James Jones. Active. He's quick. He has long arms. He can react and get into the double team and cause the post all kinds of problems. They're going to stay with Mobley and stay with Cassell and force Ross to shoot.
In the Game 7 win here Saturday night against the Los Angeles Lakers, the Phoenix Suns shot 61%. There's a miss by Sean Marion. They've started 3 of 5 tonight. That 61% was a Game 7 record. Here's Ross into Kaman. He battled a viral infection in the series against Denver, but they say he's healthy now. Shot clock is down to 6 again. Bell is on Coutinho Mobley. Elton Brand with an offensive rebound against Marion. Point blank looks and couldn't cash in, and here comes Boris Diaw to Marion. And Ross and Cassell come the other way. 36-year-old Sam Cassell. Nash is guarding. Nice save by Marion.
Well, the Clippers are getting good shots right now. They just don't have that shooting touch. Those are the shots they want to be able to get tonight.
That's what the Lakers said.
That's absolutely right.
Good blocking by Cassell, and here comes Ross and 2-on-1 with the defending Marion, who picks up a foul, and a hard foul it was. As Ross goes crashing to the floor, and Sean Marion picks up his first personal foul of the game.
Well, Steve Nash had 6 turnovers the other day in Game 7. I thought he passed up an open shot here to try to get in the lane. Ball knocked loose. Quentin Ross is a terrific defender. He actually had the assignment in last series of guarding against Carmelo Anthony. He was their primary defender. Kevin, when you talk about the Clippers, they're a very good team defensive team. They're first in block shots, 4th in field goal percentage, 5th in defending the 3. They don't have great individual defenders. Mike Dunleavy teaches great team defense. They were geared to stop Carmelo Anthony and load up their defense last series. Denver had no three-point shooting. It's much more difficult to load up against a point guard with all the shooters they have. So we'll see how they defend. But Mike Dunleavy does an excellent job preparing his team defensively.
And he's been to the playoffs before with some pretty good teams.
Well, he took the Lakers to the finals. Portland, he was the coach of the year there 1 year and was within about 5 minutes of taking that team to the NBA Finals. They had a meltdown against the Lakers in Game 7, up 15 with about 10 minutes to go.
Here's Raja Bell, and a 3 by Sean Marion. Missing badly. These two teams split their 4-game regular season series, each winning 2 apiece. Last game early April, where the Clippers won on this floor. That looked like a foul to you with Marion pushing down Ross, or 2 guys just going for the ball.
That's what Mike Dunleavy hoped, because that would have been Sean Marion's second as he went for the loose ball. But I think Jimmy Clark ruled that the ball was over his head and both guys were just making a play on it. But that would have been Sean Marion's second foul. Looks like he came up a little gimpy on that play.
Like an NFL defensive back covering a wide receiver. Ball's uncatchable. It's not a call on anybody.
Exactly. Tough matchup here for Elton Brand to play the quick Boris Diaw.
And Nash with a quick foul on Ross. It's one of those rags to riches story. He tried out a couple years ago for the Clippers. He was the last cut. They sent him overseas. He played in Belgium in a Belgian league. And then he tried out, coming back, and he made the team, and they have just fallen in love with his perimeter defense. Maybe the best perimeter defensive player the Clippers have.
Well, remember Mike Dunleavy told us in the first round, he's in the right spot at the right time. He can cover for his teammates and still get back to his own man.
And Marion against Kaman. The shot clock is down to 3 for Steve Nash. Sean Marion.
I think when you play the Suns here at home, if you can make them struggle a little bit in the first quarter, this crowd so lives on their shooting. And the numbers on them, when they get off to a good start and shoot the ball well in the first quarter, they're almost unbeatable in here.
Knocked away. Cassell finally gets it back with Mobley saving it. Now the shot clock is down to 6. And Sam Cassell for 3. He's played in a lot of playoff games as the elder statesman of this team, Sam Cassell. In fact, he has about as much experience as any point guard in these playoffs. Here comes Bell. Diaw across the lane, picked up by Ross. All the points so far by the Suns have come from their front court. The 2 forwards and center. Him trying to find his position down low and drawing a double team, as is Grant. Thus Ross is free to fire.
Well, he's going to have to make that shot. We talked to Mike D'Antoni before the game, and he said James Jones has got to help us defensively. Here's Marion once again for the lob. That's about twice now. He's had 3 lobs. He converted the first one, and 2 he's let slip out of his hands to go out of bounds.
Doug, I'm looking at Chris Kaman. He is an interesting player for this Clipper team. How do you see him fitting in this series?
Well, this is a tough series for him because, he has to play a very mobile guy, either Diaw, and they've got Elton Brand playing against Sean Marion or Diaw out there on the post. So for these big guys to stay in the game, they've got to be able to get the tempo where they want it, throw the ball in the post, and try to slow the game down. It'd be a tough cover if Chris Kaman has to run the floor for 35 minutes tonight against a smaller team.
James Jones just picked up his 2nd personal foul. Here comes Leandro Barbosa. Barbosa would start for a lot of teams in the NBA and is coming off a scintillating series against the Los Angeles Lakers.
Now let's check the matchup. So Barbosa is going to stay with Ross, so he'll probably be the help guy now. What you lose is James Jones is bigger, so on the double teams, he makes it tougher in the post to pass out of.
Yeah, Cassell working down low on Nash, and Sam Cassell's taken 3 shots and not hit any of them. Nash, a 3 on the fly, and Steve Nash, with his first attempt, makes it a triple.
Those are the kind that get you for the Suns. They get you spread out on the floor. They come down, they'll shoot quick 3s.
Elton Brand, nice pass from on top of Cassell. Here comes Barbosa. He did this all night long Saturday, shredding the Laker defense.
Oh, you can't backpedal with him. You better turn and sprint. This guy is a blur.
Brand quickly drawing him to double, and inside to Ross, tried the touch pass to Kaman. You mentioned something before, I just want to massage it a little bit. Getting off to a good start for the Phoenix Suns, how important it is for their shooting and their entire offense.
Well, if they feed off this, not only their team, but the crowd. When they start shooting it well, it lifts every phase of their game. They're more active on defense. Diaw is in such a rhythm right now. The last 4 games of that Lakers series, his confidence just soared to new heights.
Ross is basically uncovered on top. Here comes Cassell. Drew a double and a quick foul. It's inside, and a 2nd personal foul will go on Sean Marion. So that is a developing story. James Jones is already on the Phoenix bench with 2 fouls. The phases that make up the 2nd round, the Western Conference semifinals. And you're watching the NBA playoffs on TNT. The Clippers haven't led yet. All 9 points are from the front court players. Guards haven't scored in their 4 shots. And right now, let's check in with our Craig Sager for tonight's Gatorade Around the Cooler report. Craig?
Steve Nash is as fundamentally sound and as passionate as anyone who has ever played in this league. But he does not have that high-flying, above-the-rim athleticism that attracts college recruiters and NBA scouts. Ever since the playground, his ability has been questioned. And now that he's the 2-time MVP, he's too busy to call all those who question his ability.
If I had to do that, I'd probably have to call everyone on the planet that ever met me. I don't think anyone, including myself, ever thought this would be a reality. So it's so far-fetched looking at the distance I've come that, there's nobody to call and say that to, because I'd have to call everyone.
The 2-time MVP, you've got to consider this one of the greatest individual awards by a Canadian player. You think about Donovan Bailey's 100-meter gold medal and the feats of hockey players Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux, and really, those are the only guys, only feats that could rival what Nash has done in terms of a Canadian sportsman.
It's an amazing thing. Just, when you talk about Steve Nash, when you play on his team, he makes you better. And that's the greatest compliment that you can give a player, is that he makes his teammates better.
Tim Thomas has come in for the Phoenix Suns. And that was the only change for Phoenix. The Clippers starting 5 is still on the floor.
Now, matchup-wise, Tim Thomas is being guarded by Kaman, so Tim Thomas is going to try to get out on the floor and really make Kaman work. Here's Raja Bell unloading the 3.
Thomas set a screen.
But Thomas is a tough cover now for Chris Kaman, because you now have 2 perimeter guys on the Suns that are actually playing on the front line.
Elton Brand and Mobley. And Bell gave him room to fire. Picked up by Ross, who snuck inside and knocked out of his hands by the Phoenix Suns. So the Clippers will inbound with 7 minutes gone in the first quarter.
Now, Kevin, how do you control tempo? First of all, you have to have great shot discipline, so you can't come down and take quick shots. Mike Dunleavy said if we have an advantage, run for layups or get to the free throw line. Get second shots and get your defense back shooting a high percentage so you get your defense back and play in the half court as much as you can.
The Clippers are only shooting 30% from the field, now lower with that miss, down to 27. Here comes Nash. Led the NBA in assists. Finds an open Raja Bell. Nash.
So that's the threat of shooting that 3. Ross closes out on him, and Nash takes his time and get right to the lane, uses his body. Doesn't look like he has any after effects of that sprained ankle from Game 7. He sprained his right ankle. Was pretty gimpy in the second half. Looks pretty spry here tonight.
And the fact he came back and played the rest of that game was a good sign for Nash on Saturday night here when they closed out that series. Sal lost it. Ahead to Barbosa. Chased by Ross. Picked up by Mobley.
Great effort there by Ross, though, to get back and just challenge the shot enough. Barbosa heard him coming. He heard footsteps, caused him to miss the shot.
It's Elton Brand inside, and a foul is called. And Tim Thomas was defending down low. Brand is a load. First on Tim Thomas.
Remember now, Nash had come down and hit a 3, so he looks he's going to load it up, and here comes Ross running at him. Elton Brand steps over, and Nash just sidesteps him and takes that ball right to the basket. I mean, Kevin, how many times do we see that in the Lakers series where it looked like Nash was just sort of walking through the lane and just floating that ball at the basket?
So enjoyable to watch. Here's Brand, 26-year-old all-star, 2 great years at Duke, 2 great seasons with the Bulls, traded to the Clippers for the rights to Tyson Chandler, plus Brian Skinner. And then in 04, Doug, he signed the big $82 million contract as the Clippers matched the Miami Heat offer sheet.
And that was the changing of the Clipper culture. Before, they had never done that. They get Elton, and they match on Corey Maggette, who signed with Utah. They get Mike Dunleavy. They make the commitment. No longer are we going to be a team that gets guys, lets them go, and just keep retooling our team and trying to make money. Donald Sterling now says, we're going to compete. And he's done that. He's got a great coach. He's got a good nucleus of players. This is a team that should continue to just get better and better.
Interesting free throw story already. Here's Barbosa. And Tim Thomas for 3. Remember, it was his 3 in Game 6 against the Lakers that tied it and sent it to overtime.
See, Kaman is going to go back and help in the lane, and when he does that, Tim Thomas is going to have all those kind of shots. You have to have such discipline defensively when you play against the Phoenix Suns.
Diaz on Brand. Thomas with the double. Here's Coutinho Mobley working on Barbosa. Knocked away. Raja Bell will sail in.
Well, Raja Bell, we know, always gets the other team's top offensive player. Mobley gets a technical. He thought he was fouled. But Raja Bell had all of his skirmishes last round with Kobe Bryant, was ejected after Game 5, a flagrant 2 foul, suspended for Game 6. Got a reprieve when his team won Game 6 and came back in Game 7 to help his team advance into the second round.
Steve Nash was the #1 regular season free throw shooter. As you take a look at Mobley, just to add on to the Elton Brand story, Mobley signed the big $42 million contract to join the Clippers. The money was great, but it was even more enticing to join Brand and what they were building in LA. So he is in LA because of Elton Brand. Timeout taken. The Suns all over the Clippers early.
We're trying to transform the culture, of the Clippers, and I think that starts with, Mr. Sterling, Elgin Baylor, Coach Dunleavy. They really want to change how people perceive the team and wanted free agents to come and, signing Coutinho Mobley, the richest free agent deal in Clipper history, bringing in Sam Cassell via trade and, signing myself, Corey Maggette, long tenured contracts. I think that just helped turn it around.
Well, it paid dividends in their first postseason appearance in 9 years. Most wins in Los Angeles Clipper history. Set a franchise record with road wins. There's Donald Sterling who was prompted to buy the Clippers back when they were in San Diego by Laker owner Jerry Buss. Now they share the same building in Los Angeles, the Staples Center. Interesting matchups now, Doug. We've got some foul issues with the Phoenix Suns. Thomas is on Grant. That's a foul called on Diaw, but on the bench you've got James Jones with 2 Phoenix fouls and Sean Marion with 2 fouls.
Well, when you play against the Clippers and you're undersized, the Clipper big men are much more skilled than the Laker big men. And you know the Lakers' game plan is we're going to throw that ball inside. And Mike D'Antoni said, well, it's nothing new. That's what every team wants to do to us. They want to pound us inside. So their defensive schemes have to be very good tonight. Guys have to get into the right spots to help out, especially Elton Brand and Kaman down low. Now with Romanovich in the game, he brings another shooter on the floor. He can step out. They're going to need some spacing out on the floor. Some guys are going to have to make shots.
So Radmanovich plays the power forward. Brand is at the center. Let me ask you about first quarters and what you've seen in the regular season between these two teams as Cassell comes up with it. He is fouled on the wing by Tim Thomas.
Well, Sam Cassell was very smart there. They were very upset about the play on Coutinho Mobley where he lost the ball and got a technical foul. So Sam made contact there and fell down. Also, they're in the penalty already, so they're shooting free throws. And Kevin, just to follow up on the first quarter, the Suns have played the Clippers 4 times this year, and in every first quarter, they scored at least 30 points. So they've gotten off to great starts in the first quarter every time they've played this Clipper team.
Ross checks out. Sean Livingston checks in. Tell us about Livingston.
That's my X factor in the series. This young guy can be something special. 6'7", brilliant passer, and really came into his last 2 games of that Denver series. He's going to guard Steve Nash. He's quick. He's got long arms. And watch this young guy. He has got a chance to be a tremendous player.
Nash, what a pass by Steve Nash inside to Boris Diaw.
Weak side rotation. That time Elton Brand got caught over there not seeing what was going on. We saw that in the Lakers series quite often as that series went down to the 7 games.
Radmanovich, you can hit the 3, acquired in a mid-February trade. This is Elton Brand with that mid-range jump shot, which he has really sharpened this year.
Yeah, that's really the biggest part of his game that's gotten better, his ability to step out to 17 or 18 feet, so you can't just smother him with a bigger player.
Nash finding Thomas for 3. Oh, it was deflected by Radmanovich's defense.
Well, see, with Kaman guarding him, he's going to get that wide open shot. Radmanovich can close a little bit.
Livingston, Brand, look at him fight inside for position.
You know, the way the Suns fans feel about Steve Nash, that's what the Clipper fans feel about Elton Brand. That same kind of class and leadership.
Brand has 9. Here's Nash finding Thomas against Elton Brand.
Oh, Tim Thomas. We've said it over and over. Where would they be without Tim Thomas? And you know what? He might have not been on this team had Kurt Thomas not got hurt.
Exactly.
It's like the Lakers. I mean, Kwame Brown stepped in and played great at the beginning of the season when Chris Mims sprained his ankle. Sometimes you got to take advantage.
Brand.
He's going to work now. Elton Brand into a rhythm. Got 11 points on 4 of 5 shooting.
Phoenix's bench is +7. Here comes Nash and Diaw. And one of those bench players, Thomas. That against Cassell. Foul. Sam Cassell will pick that up for the Los Angeles Clippers. First against Sam.
Elton Brand, just a workhorse inside. Long arms. He's only about 6'8", but his wingspan's about 7'2". You know, when he stands next to Chris Kaman, he's actually bigger than Chris Kaman, and Kaman's about 4 inches taller than him. But this guy, when you talk to Mike Dunleavy, you talk about anybody around the NBA, this Elton Brand is solid gold. He's a guy you want on your team.
Bell knocks in the first. Friday on ESPN, it's Miami, New Jersey, and Phoenix and the Clippers. Saturday on ABC, Detroit and Cleveland. Now, Doug, when you look back at what happened between Kobe and Bell, where it happened in that first-round series, what are your thoughts in the wake of all that?
Well, I mean, first of all, Raja Bell knows in retrospect you can't make that kind of play. When your team is down after that game 3-2 and you got to win a game on the road, you can't lay your team out like that. And he knows that. He lost to school. He talked about it. His team rescued him in Game 6. Barbosa was brilliant. He and Diaw and Marion had to be in Nash. and then he came back in Game 7 strong. But you can't hang your team out there when they need you so much. In a moment like that, there could be an elimination.
Corey Maggette is in, got the feed, and a beauty it was from Elton Brand, and Maggette is heard from very quickly off the bench.
Now, Corey Maggette is ultra explosive. He will drive that ball to the basket, and he was terrific the last 3 games of that Denver series.
No fouls to give either way, and there's a travel. And it's on Boris Diaw, who is absolutely wonderful in the last 4 games of that first-round series against L.A.
Maggette is a slasher and a cutter, wants to get to that foul line. When he is healthy, he'll shoot about 10 free throws a game. He missed 50 games this season. Livingston missed 21, and those were 2 of their key performers.
Brand throwing out of a double team. Radmanovich for 3. Brand with the offensive rebound, guarded by Diaw. Elton Brand. Thomas with the rebound. Eddie House is in the game for the first time. He caught fire in the 4th quarter in Game 7 here against the Lakers. Can he continue that now in this new series with the Clippers?
Well, Mike D'Antoni always loves to get him in the game in the first half to see what he's got. And in that Lakers series, Vujacic blanketed him the whole time and would not give him any open looks until the end of Game 7 when it was over. And he had about a couple threes to give him some confidence.
Here's Livingston and Radmanovich over the smaller House. He was defending him and then decided to take the shot. That's a foul on House, which means 3 free throws coming up for Vlade Radmanovich. House picks up his first. 1 second remains in the first quarter.
Oh boy, this is you hit the guy on the elbow. I mean, that's an old guard trick. The fans don't like it, but all you have to do is touch a shooter on his elbow, and that shot will go awry. I used to do that to big guys, used to drive them crazy. All you do is you can't block the shot, you bump their elbow, and it throws that shot completely off. 1 second to go, there's going to be 3 free throws, and also a delay of game. But watch here on his elbow. Right there, see that on the elbow? It's a touch thing. The fans don't like it, but that shot was 4 feet off because of that little touch on the elbow.
Clippers, Doug, have taken 13 free throw attempts. The Phoenix Suns have taken 3. That's number 14 right there, hoisted and hit.
Well, remember now, the Suns were 30th in the league in free throw attempts in the regular season. At 18, they only made 14 a game. But ironically, against the Lakers, it was the free throw line that was the difference. They had 20 points a game at the line and shot 90%.
Well, that would have counted. That was some kind of throw. So we have finished the first quarter. The Suns led by as many as 11, 23-12 with 3 minutes left. But the Clippers closed the first quarter on a 13-6 run. At the end of 1, the Suns by 4. It's the semifinals on TNT.
A little story here to watch now. The Suns pride themselves on not fouling. Last year they were the best in league at committing the fewest fouls. This year they were 3rd best. Already they have 9 fouls to 2. 15 free throw attempts for the Clippers in that first quarter. They made 11, so the Clippers shoot only 41%. They made 8 more free throws. That's why this game is close right now. Suns have to stop fouling.
Clippers had a couple of major first quarter field goal droughts of 4 minutes and 18 seconds and 3 minutes and 52 seconds. Kleeman inside around the defending Tim Thomas of Phoenix.
See, they're skilled players now. Those Clippers big men, Kaman, Elton Brand, those guys, you throw them the ball in the post, they're going to finish, or they're going to pass out of the double team. Here's Tim Thomas unloading that 3 once again.
Bell with an offensive rebound for the Phoenix Suns, and Diaw will put up a 3.
Boy, Phil Weber, the assistant coach from the Phoenix Suns, has got to be smiling. There is no way in the world Boris Diaw would have taken that shot in October. They have worked so hard on his confidence and his shooting. And you can just see him out there, just every shot right now he thinks he's going to make.
There are a couple of great stories. In fact, that's a traveling violation. A couple of great assistant coach stories. You talk about Weber working with Diaw. What about the head coach's brother, Dan D'Antoni, working with Leandro Barbosa?
Yeah, he's been sort of his mentor, a guy bringing him confidence every day and writes him notes before games. And I mean, he was thrilled the way that Barbosa finished that Lakers series. Here's
Eddie House, who starts the second quarter over Livingston. And now Eddie House has come off the bench, 0 of 2. Livingston is yet to take a shot. Radmanovich, Mobley against Barbosa. Patino Mobley. And Thomas with another rebound.
Remember, Thomas had 15 defensive rebounds in Game 1 of that Lakers series, career high for the playoffs.
He's got 3 tonight, 3 total rebounds for the Phoenix Suns. Bell for 3. Doug, of all the statistics you were going to watch tonight, you kept mentioning three-point shooting for the Phoenix Suns against the Clippers.
Well, the disparity of the Suns' 3 is going to have to override the paint points for the Clippers as well as their ability to get to the free throw line. So you're going to have to, the Suns are going to have to shoot it well tonight.
It's Kaman against Thomas.
See how he takes his time and how skilled and stuff he is. The Lakers wanted to do that. Their big men just weren't capable.
Jim Thomas, who played a season at Villanova. He's been a journeyman since in the NBA. Barbosa. Thomas. The Brazilian Barbosa. Rebound by Kaman. Livingston finds McGetty, who slides in and finds 2 and is fouled on the play. McGetty can drive as well as any player in the NBA.
Well, he is so strong, and in practice, if you're not going full speed, he'll put a hurting on you. He banged up 3 guys in the last 7 days as they were preparing to come in and play against the Phoenix Suns. But the pass by Sean Livingston, I want to tell you, this young guy, Sean Livingston, has got such court vision. He's 6'7", he's got long arms, and when he's pushing that ball out there, and McGetty's running, Mobley, you've got 2 mobile big men out there. This Clipper team, they're going to pick and choose their spots, Kevin. It's not like they're going to walk the ball up the floor. If their advantage is there, they're going to try to take them.
Livingston jumped right from high school in Peoria, Illinois to the NBA.
He sure did. Actually, it's signed at Duke. So you got he was at Duke signee. You got Elton Brand. You got Corey Maggette, and you have Daniel Ewing, and there's Coach K watching tonight, sitting up there with Jerry Colangelo. Coach K will be coaching the Olympic team, and Jerry Colangelo is in charge of putting that all together.
Bench points now even at 7 apiece. Here's a defensive 3 inside on the Los Angeles Clippers, who finished in 2nd place in the Pacific Division. Craig?
Well, Kevin, I'm sitting next to Mike Wells from San Antonio and Paul McKeskey over here from Dallas. They are scouting this series for a possible matchup in the conference finals. Very busy at work. I've been sheeting off their homework. Mike has Phoenix for 31 possessions so far in the game. Paul has them for 32. We have a 24-second clock, but both of them having Phoenix taking their shots with an average of 8 seconds of their possessions. So they have the pace they want.
Some tells me it's not the first time you've cheated on someone else's homework.
That's how you got through Northwestern, being the mascot there. You think he studied?
I think Big Mo caught some sun this afternoon here in Phoenix.
Well, the Suns want to shoot it in 7 seconds if they can, so they're right on target. He said they're shooting it at an average of 8 seconds.
Here's Diallo, picked up by Livingston, approaching 9 to play in this first half. Livingston finished the Denver series strong, and then the playoff series against the Nuggets. Great 3-point shot by Corey Maggette.
Well, if he makes that shot, you can't guard him because you got to play him for his drive.
It's a miss. And the Clippers, who have never led, can take a lead here. Into Kaman, guarded by Diallo. And the big unknowns is how Kaman would work in this series. So far, 3 of 5, 6 points and 4 rebounds as the Clippers turned over for the 7th time in our first half. They trailed by 11. Now they're within 1. Good-looking game shaping up here in Game 1 in Phoenix, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. The LA Clippers looking for their first lead in this game. Phoenix started well from the field.
Oh, you know, it's interesting. Coaches always know their teams. When I talked to Mike D'Antoni before the game, he said, you know, Doug, I think we're going to get off to a great start. I'm worried about us getting a little flat. And it's interesting. They started out 10 of 16. They're now 4 of 12. And we talked about the Clippers maybe a little rusty. Maybe take the first 5 or 6 minutes to get going. Well, they started out 3 of 11. They're now 8 of 11. So Phoenix is going to have to pick up their energy level right now. They've gone flat. The Clippers have gone to their bench, and they've gotten right back into this game.
Marion is in. In fact, the starters are in for the Phoenix Suns. Diallo to Marion and out to James Jones. Marion and Jones both playing with 2 personal fouls. Diallo takes it inside.
Remember in the Lakers series, the struggles in the second quarter of the Suns when their bench didn't produce? Mike D'Antoni came right back to his starters. A little over the 8-minute mark, he's got his starters. He knows they can't have a flat second quarter.
Ross is back in. Livingston is in there. McGetty is off the bench. Radmanovich is off the bench. The Clippers only have one starter in the game. That's Chris Kaman, the center. And Corey McGetty. With the rebound by Kaman and picked up by Sean Marion. Make it two starters. Ross is the other starter in there for the Clips. Nash. And a foul on the perimeter.
You know how hard it is, Kevin, to guard in this game when you are helping and the Suns are penetrating and kicking to your guy, and you've got to try to rush at him knowing he can shoot the three, and you're trying to keep him in front of you. Closing out in the NBA on shooters is so difficult, and the Suns, I think it's tougher than anybody. Now watch the penetration. Now Nash kicks the ball. Right now Quentin Ross gives a little help. They kick it back out. I've got to help. Now you close, and now you're right back in the lane again. That's what you see over and over against the Phoenix Suns.
Elton Brand has come in. Ross has taken a breather and a foul inside. There goes on Radmanovich. Sean Marion will be at the free throw line. It's interesting, the Clippers, Doug, for a while battled Phoenix for the Pacific Division title. The Clippers finished second in the division.
Well, the Clippers went through a little bit of a hiccup, and the Suns really took advantage of that. Look at the size of the Clipper team. Corey McGetty, Sean Livingston in the backcourt, they're both 6'7". Radmanovich at the small forward is 6'9", and you have Kaman and Brand. So you have two contrasting styles in it. You have a big Laker team and a small Suns team. Who's going to blink first?
The Clippers have great size. Clippers one of the tallest teams in the NBA.
Very underrated in that. You don't look at them and think of being a big team, but they really are.
Here's McGetty. They'll fire again, and Corey McGetty is off to a nice start off the bench. In 6 minutes, Doug, 10 points, 4 of 5 from the field.
He's picking up right where he left off in the Denver series.
Jones, nice fake. Radmanovich bit.
That's what Radmanovich is supposed to do. Run James Jones off that three-point line, make him bounce it and shoot it too.
Clippers have confidence on this floor. Here's another McGetty two-point shot, buries it from outside, and McGetty suddenly has become the game's leading scorer with 12. He has put in 10 in the second quarter.
Talk about bench, 14-7 for the Clippers right now.
Marion missed the three, and tapped back up and in by Nash. Will it count?
If it's a controlled tip, if they rule that it's a controlled tip, it will count. Otherwise, it won't. Is it a controlled tip? I think that should count.
They're discussing it right now. Clark, Fryer, and the other referee. I'll count it. And McCutcheon.
Got to call it. It was a controlled tip.
Now, Dunleavy, who played many years in the NBA. In fact, he played with Doug Collins. They were surprised at the call.
See, now this isn't a slap at the basket. Watch it. It comes to rest in Nash's hands. And that's a controlled shot. That's why that shot counts. If he would have slapped it up there, it would have been a loose ball foul. It would not have counted because he would not have had control.
I said before moments ago, the Clippers have confidence on this court. Going back to that early April game, beating the Phoenix Suns here. With a record number of road wins. This is a team right now that feels good about themselves away from Los Angeles.
Well, McGetty came in here at 23 the last game. Elton Brand 34 and 15. And how about Sean Livingston? There's no to sell. He had 12 points and 13 assists in that game. So those three guys all played brilliantly in the win.
Here's Nash, picked up by Livingston. Raja Bell for two.
Notice how they're chasing him off that three-point line. That's exactly what the Lakers wanted to do.
Bell foul. McGetty was off to the races. McGetty's battled a bad back all season long. First on Raja Bell. Doug, that was in a fast break type category as the Clippers start going the other way. It's interesting to take a look at where these two teams are in terms of their fast break offense and their fast break defense.
Well, the Suns are number 2 behind the Denver Nuggets, and the Denver Nuggets got no fast break opportunities against this Clipper team in the first round. So they're going to have the same task here at hand. The Clippers try to slow down the second best fast break team in the league. And the Clippers were number 1 in the league at defending against the fast break as Sean Livingston knocks in that long jump shot.
You don't hear about fast break defense very much, do you?
Well, that's called good shot selection.
Yeah.
It's called getting your team back, good floor balance. When you run good offense, you got a chance to get back and defend against fast breaks. When your offense is skitterish and you have no chance to defend on the break.
Well, teams are shooting over 50%. This is Brand inside.
Well, they're slow getting there on the rotations. Elton Brand is getting so deep. That guy's trying to come from the baseline to double team, and he's slow getting there. Once Elton gets to the basket, there's no defending him.
Boris Diaw from France. Sat on the bench a lot with Atlanta. Came here as kind of an afterthought, a throw and a trade that sent Joe Johnson to the Atlanta Hawks. Nice crossover by Livingston. Came and tried to get it. Jones knocked it away, and here comes Nash. Easily glides in for two.
Again, no weak side there. Elton Brand didn't know where the basketball was. That's not like Elton. He's one of the best shot blockers in the league. You've got to sprint and turn around and see the basketball.
The MVP has 13 points in 16 minutes, and here's Livingston. Into Chris Kaman. Foul, Livingston. Livingston picks up his first. Steve Nash already has 6 assists and 13 points to lead the Phoenix Suns.
Now keep your eye on Elton Brand. He's on the weak side here. Does not see the ball until the last moment. When you're coming down the floor against the Suns, you better spot that ball quickly. Probably going to be in Nash's hands. Try to take away those layups and make them make a jump shot. Well, Mike D'Antoni went back to his bench to his starters early in this second quarter, and Steve Nash has really given his team a big lift. Comes down the floor, pulls up, and knocks the three down. He's 5 of 5 from the floor, 1 of 1 from behind that three-point line. You chase him off the three, you get inside. Now you have to scramble at Steve Nash, one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. When you do, he pump fakes you, gets in the lane. Nice little floater off the glass. And now two guys playing off one another. Elton Brand worried about him on the cut. Diaw just turns, faces, little crossover dribble, and a finish at the basket. Diaw has 13, so he and Nash have combined for 26 of the 49 points. The Suns are +9 from three. The free throws have gone to the Clippers, which you would expect. The bench to the Clippers. Corey Maggette has been brilliant, but the Suns' energy level has picked up as their starters have gotten back into the game. Let's see if Barbosa can get it going in his second stint. He and Tim Thomas.
Couple bench people in there right now, and Thomas, one of them, as Coach just said, he hits the shot, and Thomas off the bench, 8 minutes and 7 points. And here comes Sam Cassell. 3 starters out there for the Clippers, including Brand, who works on Diaw.
He's worked on his game so much. Look how much weight he's lost. He's got that quick step.
There's a lob inside by Nash. Thomas for 3.
See, your big men run back into the paint. And that's exactly what the Suns want you to do, because Tim Thomas is going to run to that three-point line, shooting it at 57% in the playoffs.
Isn't that amazing? Resultant Brand, again, Diaw defending.
Well, he doesn't have any rust on his game. That rest helped him.
Talked about Brand losing weight, lost 18 pounds at the urging of Coach Mike Dunleavy.
17 points, 7 of 10 from the floor. He's off to a great start.
Marion, before Nash had tapped in that shot, but James Jones shot the free throw. It was a foul off the ball. Thus Jones shot the shot. Suns have led by as many as 11. Clippers have never had a lead in this game. Kaman will take a breather. Mobley will check back in. So Cassell, Brand, Livingston, Mobley, and Maggette, very small lineup.
Well, the Clippers have great versatility. They can go big, they can go small, they can do a lot of different things.
Small in Clipper terms. I mean, that's still a big team in so many other eyes. It's 6-7 guys. Mobley probably the smallest guy out there with Cassell. It's out of bounds, off Phoenix. 3:19 to play in the half. It's interesting, Nash and Cassell were teammates for a very short time here in Phoenix, just for a couple months as it turned out. And Nash has said he couldn't have had a better teacher to begin his NBA career than Cassell, who was with him for those few short games, weeks here in Phoenix when they were both Suns.
Well, Sam knows the game inside and out. I mean, he's a point guard that knows where everybody's supposed to be on the floor. Here's Elton going to work once again in the post. They just have no answers for him.
19 in the game for Brand. Barbosa sliding inside. Cassell was defending.
See, Elton Brand is guarding Tim Thomas at the top of the floor. And when Barbosa penetrates, normally Elton Brand would go in to help. But he's afraid to leave Tim Thomas because Tim Thomas is shooting the three so well.
Cassell picks up his second personal foul. This will put Leandro Barbosa at the free throw line for the Phoenix Suns. Barbosa was great Game 7 against the Lakers. 26 points, played 31 minutes. He was a big factor, Doug, in Game 6 with Bell out with the suspension. Barbosa answered there. Log on to TNT Overtime Playoffs 06 on NBA.com or AOL.com/NBA. Player previews, analysis. Tomorrow you'll see Doug Collins on there talking about this series.
Well, Dan D'Antoni, we talked about him, the assistant coach, leaving notes for Barbosa. This is the note he left him before Game 7. Don't get into foul trouble and just play your game. You've got it now. Good luck. That's what Dan has meant to this young kid, and he has just really blossomed.
Well, when he played well, Phoenix beat Los Angeles. It was, and Diaz did as well. Those two guys were significant in that first-round series win.
Yeah, they helped him turn around to win those last three. Those two guys' production was...
Sam Cassell, corkscrewing inside. Played a couple years at Florida State. Has bounced around the NBA. And Cassell picking up the points. His first basket tonight. He's got a total of 5. He is 1 of 4 from the field. Nash. Getty with the rebound. Look at the speed of the Clippers the other way. They've got another gear, and Elton Brand finishes the break well.
Well, Sean Livingston will find you on that break. He is so quick.
Pickpocketed by McGetty. Picked up by Cassell. Their fast break game now is in gear. Cassell with Barbosa there. 70% of Elton Brand's points come on jump shots, which may surprise some people because he plays inside. But teams have charted 70% of his points come on the mid-range jump shot, or certainly away from the basket.
Well, that's because you try to put a bigger guy on him to take his post up, and because Mike Dunleavy has really worked with him to expand his game, now you can't do that.
Well, welcome back to Phoenix, where former Duke teammates Elton Brand with 21 and Corey Maggette with 12 have cut Phoenix's lead down to just 3. And with me is their Cowboys coach, Mike Krzyzewski, who also has another duty here with Jerry Colangelo working on the USA national team. But first, your thoughts on your former players and how this game is going tonight.
Well, I love Elton. Elton has improved so much. I'm going to love coaching him again on the national team. And Corey's healthy now. And, you know, when you have two athletes like that who know how to play, Mike Dunleavy's really helped them improve.
Maggette, of course, coming back from that separated ligament in his foot. You mentioned the national team, coaching Elton again. With all you've accomplished at Duke, a new challenge for you. Tell us how excited you are about it and what we expect from the team.
Yeah, really good stuff. We've been meeting for 2 days here with my staff, and have had an opportunity to meet with Sean Marion, who's on our team, and Amari Stoudemire, who, if he's healthy, will be on our team. So we're hoping the doctors here do a good job with Amari Stoudemire.
It's one thing to put a great team together with United States basketball players in the NBA, but it's another to win, as we've seen in U.S. Olympics and also national championships. What's the key to winning the gold?
Well, compatibility. Everyone has to adapt to new situations and be focused on winning for the United States. And I think we have a group of guys who want to do that. And I think you have to play good defense. And with the athletic ability that we have, if we have the cooperation, which I think we will, I think we'll be a very, very formidable team.
I know the team has the right coach. Congratulations.
Well,
and
thank
good luck.
you. It's an honor. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Doug.
All right, Lord Kevin, thank you very much there, Seggs. And one of the assistant coaches, by the way, on that U.S. Olympic team, one of the floor coaches, will be Chris Collins, who is an assistant at Duke. For Coach K, Steve Wojciechowski, and they'll be involved with some of the practices in Las Vegas coming up this summer.
Yeah, Chris very excited about the chance to get out and do some drills for those guys. I know I talked to him today. Here's Sam Cassell, and quietly the Clippers have taken the lead. The Suns are a little out of sync right now, Kevin. They're turning the ball over, and the Clippers have gotten their sea legs back after having 7 days off, and they're playing with great confidence right now. I think the glamour of the Laker name had these Phoenix Suns fans excited. They better get excited about cheering for this team against the Clippers. This Clipper team is a better team than the Lakers.
This is the first lead the Clippers have had tonight. And there is a foul. It's a 3-shot foul coming up as Marion picks up his third. And Corey Maggette will be at the free throw line for the Los Angeles Clippers. And a technical foul has just been slapped on Marion as well. Sean, who turned 28 yesterday and has been a little bit miffed as to why he has not gotten more national recognition for his play here in Phoenix, and who had a so-so first round against the Los Angeles Lakers. Picks up a tee right there.
Well, he came on strong, Kevin, in the last part of that series. Had a big game 6. You know, he had to guard Lamar Odom and fight in the post that whole series. Played against a much bigger, stronger guy, very talented player. Now he's got to match up against Elton Brand.
Yeah,
so
it's no.
I mean, you're asking this guy to guard a load down on the post, to get you 21 points, get you 12 rebounds. I mean, he's one of the most versatile players in the NBA. But how about now the Suns in the first quarter? They foul a three-point shooter with 1 second to go. There's 29 seconds to go in the second quarter. Sean Marion fouls a jump shooter, gets a technical. So the Clippers closed out the first quarter, and now they're closing out the second quarter. And that's not good news here for this Phoenix Suns team.
Clippers closed out the first quarter 13-6. Let's take a look at Maggette, who's had a myriad of injuries this season. Back injuries and leg injuries, and he's missed many games. So getting him back healthy, which occurred in the last couple weeks of the regular year, really has helped this team. Obviously formidable against the Denver Nuggets in round 1, and now it's going to pay dividends, they think, here in round 2 against Phoenix. No fouls to give in the final 23 seconds of the first half.
Well, Daniel Ewing has checked into the game here tonight for his first action. He's also a Blue Devil, so Coach K's got 4 guys here tonight.
It's a 3 by Bell.
Very flat on that shot. Last opportunity here for the Clippers to go in. They get a score here. They could be up 5 or 6 points and feeling very good about themselves.
Livingston
hits
a nice shot. You've called him the X Factor, Doug. He's got 4 points and 5 assists in 15 minutes. And this is Nash at the buzzer, missing right there. Some kind of half.
Well, you've got to give the Clippers a lot of credit. They fought through a 3-for-11 start. Suns were 10 for 16. Since that point in time, the Clippers have turned things around, dominating inside. They're picking and choosing when they're running. They finished that quarter, Kevin, 16-2. So right now, Mike Dunleavy has to be very happy with his team here on the road in Game 1.
Elton Brand's got a game-high 23, and he is standing by with our Craig Sager.
Well, the Los Angeles Clippers record book as far as the playoffs go is not that as extensive, but however, you have rewritten it already, breaking Danny Manning's record with the most points and a half. Talk about how easy it's been for you and how that is obviously the advantage you guys have.
You know, it was a game of tempo. You know, we can't play that style. They run and gun, they hit a lot of threes. They spread the court. We played low post offense. You know, Chris Kaman, myself, Radmanovic, we want to just post it inside, get the open shooters outside.
After not playing for a week, a little rusty at the beginning, kind of hard to keep up with their pace?
Yeah, you know, we're a little fresher than they are. You know, we were off for a week, but they just played the other day, so they started out a little sharper than us. But you know, now we got our legs back, and we're just ready to get into a flow.
You're going to flow in that first half. Elton Brand with 23 points, and the Clippers have the lead at intermission. Now let's go to Ernie Johnson, our TNT Arena in Atlanta. EJ.
Thank you very much, Craig. It's the T-Mobile Halftime Report, live from Studio J, the TNT Arena in Atlanta. Playoff doubleheader as the conference semifinals are underway. Ernie Johnson, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Charles Barkley, and our guest, the Chicago Bulls' Ben Gordon, who has gone by the name of Air Gordon and Mr. Fourth Quarter, and
Ben Goody,
and Gentle Ben, and Commissioner Gordon, and the closer, and my personal favorite, Madison Square Gordon. Good to have you. Yeah, good to have you with us tonight. Now, look, I see 61-56. I see a 61-point half. I'm thinking that's got to be Phoenix end of this. How have the Clippers managed to take this lead into the locker room up by 5?
I mean, I think they did a really good job of, not letting Phoenix run as much, and on the other end, they've been selective, like Chuck said earlier, in the way they push the ball. They've been picking their spots, and I think, that's why they're, up right now.
When you look at this, though, Charles, what pace, Phoenix looked like they were going to have a 60-point thing and maybe a 120-point game, which is kind of their pace. Can the Clippers win this game running with Phoenix?
No, ain't nobody in the league can run with Phoenix and win like that. The only way to beat the Suns is selectively run and pound them inside. They want to outscore you. They don't want to play in the defense, and they going to shoot threes. They're going to let Steve Nash be the MVP. They just try to outscore you, but that's what they try to do. And the Clippers, that was a perfect half. They were selective when they ran. and then a half-court set. And what that's going to open up, Elton Brand, they got no help. Nobody can handle him down on that box. They got Kamen on the other side, but that's going to get Sam easier shots. That's going to get Maggette easier shots because the Phoenix is so small, they have to double.
And Doug Collins pointing out the patience those big guys like Brandon Kamen show down there on the block and getting things done down there.
Not only patient, they're finishers. You know, this is not, the Lakers big men where, Lamar Odom did a good job for a couple of games, maybe 3 or 4 games, but, Elton Brand and Kamen can score at will consistently. They're accustomed to doing this. This is what they do all the time. But, the one thing is Phoenix does do a good job of they do a good job right here of doing the three-point line. They'll cover the three-point because they used to playing each other. But down here, you see how many guys are wide open. So it's incredible how they allow you, as you run it, to get easy baskets. So Kamen, who is a finisher, and now he's going to finish. And if you look at this is not one. This is pretty much every single time that they guard the three-point line because they're used to playing themselves in practice. But look, this is open down in the box. So you're able to just get in it, go down, score, and you have one-on-one coverage. I don't care who you are in this league. I don't think you can guard anybody one-on-one that close to the basket. I don't care if it's Chris Kamen, Elton Brand. And this is what Chuck is talking about, selective running. Run them off the three-point line, make them drive. Now, okay, let me see if we have an advantage. Yeah, we do have an advantage. Let's go. I'm going to push the ball up. I'm going to get it to my guys, and we're going to score. You have to be smart about when you do go. And Sean Livingston did a great job, and along with Sam Cassell of selectively running.
Clippers shooting 58% in the first half, and they lead at 61-56. When we come back, highlights, the opener between the Nets and the Heat.
Or lowlights.
Well, not if you're a New Jersey fan.
That's what I said. Or they're lowlights if you're from Miami.
This is true. The home court lost by the Heat.
He had a 16-point swing over the last 15 minutes of the first half, and Doug Collins, the Phoenix Suns, ended the last 4 minutes 0 of 5 from the field.
Kevin, what I saw is a team suffering some after effects of 3 hard-fought games to get here tonight. They had 3 very emotional games. We knew the Clippers maybe get off to a slow start. They start out 3 of 11 from the floor. Since then, they're 20 of 29. Elton Brand's been unstoppable. Corey Maggette off the bench. If I'm Mike D'Antoni, my biggest concern right now is my team's energy and emotional, where we are right now to try to get back into this game. It's only a 5-point deficit, but the Clippers are going this way right now.
Elton Brand has 23 points in the first half. As you take a look at some of the numbers, the Phoenix Suns began the game in the first quarter shooting 57%. So from that point down to 49, you can see where they fell just a bit. A difference in free throw attempts, bench points. And it has been some kind of night here, beginning with the awarding of the second consecutive MVP, the commissioner, to Steve Nash.
Yeah, quite a night. And Steve actually got off to a great start. But nice little play, the first play of the game, the lob pass to Sean Marion. Boris Diaw continues his terrific play. He had 13 points. But then Elton Brand went to work, 10 of 13 from the floor. Corey Maggette came in, gave him a huge lift. He was 5 of 7 for 13 points. So the 2 Blue Devils combined for 36 of the 61 points. And they selectively ran. They got the ball inside. They got to the free throw line. And Sean Marion now has been known to have slow first halves. He had them all throughout the Lakers series and then really picked up his level of play. Your concern is he has 3 fouls, and he's trying to match up against Elton Brand. He's got to stay away from his 4th foul.
Your concern is his entire playoff demeanor. He struggled last year in the playoffs as well. And now this year, Owen Nash was hit hard in the face, and that's a quick shot by Ross to put the Clippers up now for their biggest lead of the game, Doug, by 7 points, just seconds into this second half.
Remember now, they're not going to guard Ross. They're going to make him make shots, and he's a good open shooter. He has to trust it.
Yeah, the screen for Nash. Here comes Sean Marion across the lane. And rebound by Chris Kamen, who lassos his 5th rebound with 6 points. It's Cassell at the other end. Rebound by Bell.
I don't think Mike Dunleavy liked that shot. There's nobody under the rebound if Cassell missed it, which he did.
Flying inside, Nash was fouled. Ross picked up number 3. Craig, what do you have?
Well, at halftime, Mike D'Antoni said he had to get his team to refocus. He said they were making silly fouls on shooters that they normally don't do. He said that they had to give some type of focus because they were not running the offense that they should either. And he said Sean Marion, with that slow start Doug was talking about, was because of the foul trouble. But he said Sean Marion knows how to play with fouls. He will be on Elton Brand. Doug also mentioned how Dan D'Antoni always leaves that note for Leandro Barbosa, and before Game 7, just play your game. You've got it now. Good luck. I asked Dan what he left him tonight. He said, I left him a note with about 50 things to do. Obviously, it was too much. At halftime, I tore it up and said, listen, go to the rim. You're faster than anybody on the court.
I like that.
That's a 3 by Bell.
Keep it simple.
That's right. Well, there's a significant advantage. Plus 15 points the Suns have scored over the Los Angeles Clippers above the arc tonight. And that shot by the Suns breaks a field goal drought of over 5 minutes, going back to the late stages of the second quarter. Cassell lasers one inside for Keenan. Rebound by Brand. Grabbing his 6th rebound and getting his 25th point.
He's just too big and strong in there. There's no way Sean Marion can keep him off the boards, especially with the 3 fouls. He has to be so concerned about getting that 4th.
Diaw to Bell, and Bell to James Jones. He said his greatest shooting teacher was Reggie Miller when they were teammates with the Indiana Pacers.
Well, that's a good teacher, and Reggie also taught him how to be a professional. That young guy really grew under Reggie's tutelage. There's a double team by James Jones, and the guy who's going to be open is going to be Ross.
Mobley with the miss. He's 0 of 4. Only 1 point from Coutinho tonight. Nash has got a 5 of 7 game going from the field. There's Marion with the floater, and he's missed his first 2 shots, and then knocks in his 3rd of the second half.
Well, he's got to be very careful. I always talk about Sean Marion. I think he's got the quickest second jump in the NBA, but very careful not to pick up an offensive foul driving in the lane, leaving his feet.
Sam Cassell. And Cassell is 2 of 8. Nash, the pull-up 3. Oh, Steve Nash.
Mike Dunleavy might look for a 20-second timeout here. He's got to be very careful. The Suns feast off runs. They have taken a 1-point lead after being down 5 at halftime.
It's Ross. And picked up by Sean Marion.
They get a score here, you'll see a timeout.
They can take a look here. Phoenix Suns jumped out to an 11-point lead in the first half. Clippers kept chipping away and eventually led by 7. We've had a couple lead changes and a tie in this game.
Now the 2 guys in the middle of it are Sean Marion and Steve Nash. Nash gets Cassell on his heels, pulls up and buries the 3, and then he comes down the floor the next time, drops the ball off to Sean Marion with that flying slam dunk. And obviously these 2 guys have come out leading the charge for the Phoenix Suns as they've done all season long. 12-4 the start, 5 of 7. More importantly, Kevin, 5 fast break points. That's 14 fast break points for the Suns. Remember now, the Clippers were #1 in the league. They kept their opponents under 10 points a game on the fast break. The Suns already have 14 as they've taken a 3-point lead.
And they already have 5 players in double figures, does Phoenix so far.
See if Mike Dunleavy tries to get this ball back into Elton Brand to go against Sean Marion in that post.
Out of that break, neither team's made any changes to their lineup. It's Ross. It's Cassell. Ross again. Quentin Ross with the hit. 3 of 4, 9 points in 15 minutes.
Now, he can make open shots. The big thing with him is that he just trusts his shot and doesn't try to drive in there and make something happen. Here's Diaw.
Diaw picked it up.
He threw that hip out as Nash went by. You cannot pivot into a player. Now you watch what happens as Nash cuts by. You're going to see him a little pivot, and when he does, he knocks off the defender, and that is an offensive foul.
Nash is watching Cassell.
Cassell loves to post up smaller guards, and Nash is having no part of it.
The interesting thing about Nash in this series, Doug, is he's going to have to play both sides of the floor.
Well, you know, in that first series, he roamed around on Smush Parker when he started struggling. You've got to keep Nash busy on both ends and make him expend energy. You can't let him just float around on the defensive end.
32-year-old Steve Nash. And a three. Kane in the rebound.
Clippers have done a nice job coming out of that timeout, scoring twice to regain the lead once again. Elton Brand wants that ball on the block.
Over Marion. Think about what you mentioned this earlier, though, but Marion has had to face Lamar Odom and Elton Brand in back-to-back series.
And score 20 and get 12 rebounds.
Yeah, how about that?
and they go, Sean, what's wrong? You tired?
Right,
Can't you get it done for us? I mean, and he was great in the last 3 games, Kevin. He did a good job in Game 5, brilliant in Game 6, and it was his offensive rebound that he kicked out in Game 6 down 3 that got Tim Thomas the shot that sent that game into overtime, which the Suns went ahead to win.
He had 3 double-doubles in the last 4 games of that series. Marion puts it in. The NBA playoffs continue tomorrow night on TNT as the Pistons take on LeBron and the Cavs in Game 2 of that series, followed by Game 2 between the Mavericks and the Spurs. Coverage at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on TNT.
One of the things the Suns do is they shoot free throws so well, Kevin. In the playoffs, they're shooting at 90%. So you can't foul them and put them on the line. They all shoot so well.
11 of 11 tonight. The Phoenix Suns, as you see. This is Sam Cassell, who's now got a little bit of fire. He's at 2 straight with 11 points. Great shooting by both teams, both over 51%. A 3 by Marion. Rebound by Nash. Bell. Diaw. Brand with the rebound and clutching onto his 7th of the game.
You can always tell shooters when they're not trust their shot. As soon as Diaw took that shot, he started chasing after it. You got to stay with your shot.
It's Cassell inside. 3 in a row, and he's fouled on the play. Sam Cassell will go to the line.
That's what veteran players do. Remember now, Sam Cassell, his first couple years in the league, played big minutes in the 4th quarter and made big shots for the Houston Rockets when they won back-to-back championships. He and Kenny Smith, the 2 shooting point guards for that team, and gave Olajuwon all kinds of room to work in that post. But that's what veterans do. When you're on the ropes on the road, it's slipping away. Cassell went right back to work and put his team back up by 6.
He's played a lot of years, but only an All-Star 1 time with Minnesota back in the 04 season. Diaw, great move on Kaman. Rejected by Brand. And here comes Ross with Cassell, but Phoenix back on defense. Cassell is at 4 in a row. Timeout, Mike D'Antoni. The Suns begin the 3rd quarter, 12-4. The Clippers have answered with a 13-2 run.
You do it with defense, and you do it with getting the ball in the hands of your confident players. Elton Brand already has 27 in this game, which surpasses his career playoff high of 25 against Denver. Sam Cassell, always known for big shots, they're back in the lead by 8.
Well, the Clippers have hit their last 6, Doug. Cassell is hit 4 in a row, 6 straight by the team. And now for the game, the Los Angeles Clippers hitting 59% from the field.
Well, you know, I think everybody thinks this Clipper team is just this slow down, pounded in team. They're going to run when the opportunity's there, and Sam Cassell will hit those mid-range shots all on line. Here's Roger Bell. That's a big shot coming out of the timeout. Tim Thomas back on the floor right now, so he is in for Diaw, and Barbosa in for James Jones, looking for some kind of spark.
See the runs right there. Those 2 substitutions, by the way, for the Suns. The first 2 substitutions by either team in the second half. Katino Mobley continues to struggle, 0 of 5. With Nash. And into Ross and a foul. As you got the MVP, Ross picks up his 4th personal foul of the game.
You know, when I watched Steve Nash play, I remember when I played for the great Coach Iba in the Olympics. And I had a tendency to want to go 100 miles an hour all the time. And he pulled me over to the side and he says, you know, son, the essence of the game is deception. And I thought about it, and that's what Steve Nash, he's deceptively quick, he's deceptively fast, he changes speeds, he keeps you off balance. So you are always, you know, not sure what he's going to do. He'll pull up and shoot the ball, he'll drive the ball past you. And so when you watch him play, the game looks so easy because he's always under control.
And he makes everybody around him better.
Absolutely.
In fact, 11 guys in the 2 years, 11 different players in the 2 years he's been in Phoenix have had career years. Livingston has just come in for the Clippers. Came in against Thomas and a foul on Tim Thomas. And he's got some foul concerns, tagged with his 4th.
See, they need Tim Thomas on the floor because it forces Mike Dunleavy's hand. If Kaman is guarding him, he can't get him out at the three-point line, and now Thomas has an advantage. But when they're going into the post, and again, this Clipper team, their low post players, Kaman is very underrated, one of the most improved players in the league, and Elton Brand has gone to work tonight. He has 27 points on 12 of 15 shooting. He's only missed 3 shots. He's in foul trouble with 4. Remember, Marion has 3. And that starts that battle of attrition on the front line favors the LA Clippers.
Kaman turned 24 in late April. He's out of Central Michigan, and he is from Wyoming, Michigan. 6th overall pick a couple years ago by the Clippers, who have drafted really well over the years. Deflected by Cassell, reeled in by Nash, and ends a foul on Kaman. Barbosa puts it in.
Barbosa needed that. For all of the talent that he has, he struggles a little bit when he loses confidence. And this is a big shot for him. I have no idea how that went in, but this is something that could ignite him. Now watch him to see if he goes on a little run of his own here. Sometimes guys like this who are streaky need to see that ball go in the basket.
Kaman his first personal foul, and the penalty now at 5-11. 3-point Clipper lead. Points in the paint, basically the same. Fast break points, +5 for the Suns. It's Cassell, 4 straight, 5 in a row for Sam Cassell.
And see what's happening is Steve Nash has to play every play. He's playing defense, he's getting screened, he's getting in the lane. The Clippers are hoping that's going to take its toll in the 4th quarter.
Clippers have rested 7 days, the Suns have rested 1. Close out their 7-game series against the Los Angeles Lakers on Saturday here. A 3 by Marion. Knocked away by Barbosa, keeps it alive. Leandro Barbosa.
Got the offensive rebound, kept it alive, got the score, confidence. The Suns are going to have to figure out how to slow down Sam Cassell right now. He's got it locked in, taking the ball right where he wants. It looks like they're going to trap him now to get it out of his hands, and Kaman fumbles the pass.
The other end, Marion with the miss, and Sean Marion is 4 of 12.
Well, that was a 1-on-3 break that was contested. Sean should have pulled that one out when he fumbled that pass.
Marion already has the double-double of 12 points and 12 rebounds, and here is Sam Cassell. His first miss with about 6 shots. Nash the fast break, Brand in the way. And the mismatch, see if Nash tries to exploit.
Brand's got long arms. He's very tough to shoot over.
I think we showed one time when he and the 7-foot Kaman raised their arms. They were fingertip to fingertip. Livingston tries inside.
I'm telling you, that kid's got brilliance written all over him. If he can stay healthy, he struggled through 2 injury-prone years. If he can stay healthy, talk about a point guard of the future, you're looking at it.
Thomas to Marion. And a foul inside. It goes on Kaman. He picks up number 2.
Well, Barbosa fearless going to the basket after he made that circus shot, and then Sean Livingston, the quick change of direction. Another quick change of direction and the strong finish.
Sean Marion at the line. Only player in the NBA in the top 20 in points, rebounds, steals, blocks, field goal percentage. And Doug, he was one of only 4 in the NBA, averaging at least 20 points, at least 10 rebounds, with KG, Yao Ming, another guy in this building, Elton Brand.
He's the working man's player. He gets it done every night. Activity. He just does it with activity. Not a lot of plays run for him. He runs the break. He gets lobs, offensive rebounds. He's a great teammate because you don't have to run plays for him and you know what you're going to get.
Sam Cassell is out. Corey Maggette has come in for the Los Angeles Clippers. That's Elton Brand. And he's got a game-high 29 with 7 rebounds.
He missed 3 shots. He's 13 of 16.
Go inside to Tim Thomas. And Thomas has 12 off the bench. But the Clipper bench is outscoring the Suns bench so far.
Well, we talked about who's going to win the bench. Both of these teams depend on their benches mightily.
It's Brand.
No chance. There's no chance. They're trying to run from the baseline. Tim Thomas is coming baseline. It's what they did with Lamar Odom. They ran a guy baseline. The difference is that Elton Brand is much bigger, and once he gets that ball down on that low post, he's either going to score or you're going to foul him.
Thomas just picked up number 5, and here is Elton Brand at the free throw line. We talk about guys who have waited so long for a taste of the playoffs. Brand and Maggette, 2 players that have waited so many games. Brand, Maggette waited over 440 games, and Brand, Doug, was over 500 games before he made it to the playoffs.
Well, you
all
think
those
about
great years.
Kevin, you think about this now. The Miami Heat put an offer sheet in on Elton Brand, and then the Clippers matched it. Then they put a big offer sheet on Lamar Odom, who was on the team too, and the Clippers let Lamar Odom go to Miami. And then they matched on Maggette, so they chose Elton Brand and Maggette as the 2 guys they were going to sign and keep. And then they've added in the draft Sean Livingston, Chris Kaman, traded for Romanovich, picked up Mobley as a free agent, and Cassell in a trade. So they have pieced together this team, and they're a team of the future.
Lane violation. It was on Marion. Radmanovich has come in for Chris Kaman. You saw moments ago Friday ESPN, Miami, New Jersey, Phoenix Clippers, Saturday ABC, Detroit and Cleveland. But here's another free throw by Elton Brand.
And Kevin, you and I will be back here on Wednesday night for Game 2, and then we will be in LA Sunday night for Game 4. And then back here Tuesday for Game 5. So we're going to have a ringside seat for what looks like is going to be a great series.
Athletic series, great skill players on both sides. It's Dion. Maggette with a great rebound.
See, with Thomas out of the game now for the Suns, you lose his three-point shooting, so you lose some spacing on the floor.
Livingston at the other end, rebound by Sean Marion. That's his 14th rebound with 14 points. Dion.
See, Mike Dunleavy looked at Sean Livingston and said, look, I don't want quick shots on the break like that. We've got the momentum going our way. Pound that ball inside. Let Elton Brand catch it like this, and let's work off of him now. Double team, we'll find the open man, and we'll go to the free throw line.
And the foul goes on Barbosa. He picks up number 2.
See, Elton looking for the double teams, and it's coming baseline. Barbosa gets him on the wrist. Watch his arm here as he comes across his right hand. There's the foul right there.
He's in a straitjacket. Maggette has come off the bench with 13. Brand has a game-high 30. Into Diaw. Now the Clippers by 4, and they've led by as many as 8. Barbosa with a 3-point shot.
It all started with that circus shot he threw in over his shoulder. Since that point in time,
you're right, Doug. And you called it.
He's back into his game.
And in 3-point shooting, the Suns are plus 21 points over the Clippers,
and
above the arc.
And still down 1.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
That's caused a big number 42 in there right there wearing this red jersey. He had no answers for him.
On Brand. He is unbelievable. 15 of 18, Elton Brand.
He's got it locked in tonight. That rest did him well.
Nash, no fouls to give either way. With no move. Nice knock away by Radmanovich. That's his second block. And this is Maggette who travels.
Well, big break right there for the Suns. It looked like it was going to be a great 2-for-1 situation. Had Maggette scored on that dunk, Clippers would have probably gotten the last shot of the quarter.
Nash has 10 assists. Steve Nash. He's got 20.
He's seen every kind of screen roll defense imaginable. I asked Mike D'Antoni today, what do you do in certain situations? He said, I let Steve figure it out.
They got 10 seconds with which to work at the end of the third quarter. Winding is Nash. Dion kicking it down the 3. Phoenix Suns close the quarter on a 23-13 run. And lead by 2 at the end of 3. Back in Phoenix, and let's check out tonight's Lamisil AT step-up play of the game. Why not take a look at Elton Brand? 34 points through 3 quarters. That is a Clippers franchise single-game record.
Well, Kevin, remember we talked about the start of the game. There's a lot of people out there that have watched NBA basketball this season who don't know how good this Elton Brand is. Well, I think they're getting a taste of this tonight. Look, he's already setting Clippers franchise record, points and a half, field goals made, 34 points. We go back to our open. What are the Suns going to do with Elton Brand? And what are the Clippers going to do at the three-point line? The Suns are plus 24 points at the three-point line. So which is going to win out? The power of Elton Brand in the lane, or is it going to be the Suns' three-point shooting?
Bell, Barbosa, Marion, Diaw out there with James Jones. That's basket interference. Offensive interference. Marion got his hand inside the cylinder. Nash is sitting out. Let's take a look now and keep track of what happens when Nash is out of the game.
Normally that's an alley-oop, but Boris Diaw actually shot that one as he ran down the floor. He looked at Sean, he goes, I was shooting that one. You can read his lips there. Normally that's an alley-oop.
Sam Cassell is still out. Livingston is in with Radmanovich and Mobley, Maggette and Brand. That's the Clipper 5. Mobley hits his first shot from the field. He's got 3 in 31 minutes.
Now Roger Bell's done a great job on Mobley. He's a terrific one-on-one player, very strong, and is a deceptive low-post player.
Barbosa to Marion. Brand knocked that away with the shot clock at 8. Out of bounds a go. At the end of that third quarter, Diaw thought, after he hit the shot, thought, I guess we're over. And then they said, wait a minute.
He thought it was either halftime or they just won.
Yeah, Rindy told him to turn around.
We got 12 more minutes here for us before you get to go in that locker room.
It's Bell for 3. Rebound. Oh, James Jones. It looked like Maggette mistimed his rebound jump.
Well, he did, because the ball hit up there one more time and fell right in the hands of James Jones because Corey Maggette had inside position. Big minutes here right now with Steve Nash resting. Can the Clippers make a little push? And Corey Maggette, he's not known as a jump shooter, as a slasher and a cutter. Tonight he's made everything he's thrown up there 6 of 8.
15 and 17 minutes. Here comes Maggette the other way. Look at how fast he is galloping in and crashing into Barbosa, who picks up the Phoenix foul.
Now that's his game. He reminds me of when Clyde Drexler used to play for Portland. When he got on the break, Corey has that kind of strength and power when he gets that speed going to the basket. You're not going to stop him unless you foul him.
Doug calls Livingston the X factor in this series. Elton Brand, 16 of 19, 36 points in 34 minutes.
And he's the man. Elton Brand is the man right now.
It's a foul, but Radmanovich lost his balance, Craig, and picked up his second foul. What do you have?
Well, as Doug mentioned, he is the man, rewriting the record book once again, erasing Danny Manning's franchise record of 33 points at the 1992 playoffs. But of course, those people that know this franchise from back their days in Buffalo, particularly Bob McAdoo, who may be watching in Miami, knows that he has the overall record. Big Bob had 50 points for the Buffalo Braves back in 1975. But since they've been on the California coast, the records now belong to Elton Brand.
That wasn't against the Sixers, was it? I hope that wasn't against our team when I played him in the playoffs, I hope.
Who was that game against?
That away, Craig.
Against Washington. You're fine, Doug.
Thank you.
That's a foul. Elton Brand picks up that foul.
All good stuff here now, though, for the Suns. Steve Nash is resting. It's a tie game right now. The Suns have a chance to take the lead and hope that Nash can come in and help them finish the deal here at home and take a 1-0 lead.
Diaw against Radmanovich. Bell back to Diaw. Rejected by Brand. Another block for Elton. A breakaway with Livingston the other way for the Clippers.
See that speed? He and Corey Maggette. When you put them out there with Mobley, you got the shot blocker of Elton Brand back there. Remember now, the Clippers were the #1 shot blocking team in the NBA this year. I think Mike D'Antoni's seen enough. He's getting Steve Nash back in the ball game.
Diao again scoops it off to Jones. That's a two-point shot by James Jones. Fouled. No, he traveled inside.
He caught his own missed shot. Was an air ball. So if you throw the ball up there and catch your own missed shot without it hitting anything, it's really called traveling. So the Suns got away with one there. They're slow on their rotation, Kevin, getting over to Elton Brand. He had to step on that when, unfortunately, Diao got there at the last second.
With Nash out, now Nash is back in the game, Doug. -2 for the Phoenix Suns.
They got to be happy with that. Sean Marion's getting a little bit of a rest right now. Tim Thomas on the bench with 5 fouls. So they'd like both of those guys to be able to come in and help finish this game. And the Clippers have their speed lineup on the floor right now. Romanovich is a power forward with Livingston, Maggette, Mobley, and Elton Brand.
This match here, Nash blowing by Radmanovich, who was lunging in and picked up a foul.
So Elton Brand can block some shots now. I mean, you know, you just don't think, because he's like 6'8", you don't think he's going to be able to do that. He's got that wingspan. He's had about 3 spectacular shots tonight that he blocked.
Tied at 9, a fractured right foot. He could come back in a couple weeks and rejoin this series.
Well, you think that they could not have used him against the Lakers in the first round, and
absolutely.
Now in this series playing against Elton Brand and Chris Kaman, as Steve Nash walks to the line. Got to talk. You see Ralph Lawler over there, the radio voice of the Los Angeles Clippers. He's always had Lawler's Law, the first team to 100 wins. There's Ralph right there, the longtime respected broadcaster. He actually did my games on radio in Philadelphia.
He has been there a long time.
His big thing is first team to 100 wins. So we'll see what happens tonight.
27 years as the voice of the LA Clippers, San Diego Clippers. They go inside. Livingston to Elton Brand, who now has 38 points. Knocked away by the hustling Livingston at the other end. What do you got, Craig?
We mentioned Lawler with his 27 consecutive years with the Clippers. At the other side, you have Al McCoy, who's now in his 34th year broadcasting the Phoenix Suns. The only play-by-play announcer with longer longevity, Joe Tate, 37 years with Cleveland, but of course he was with Cleveland, New Jersey, Chicago, and Cleveland. So Al McCoy has the longest with one team.
Joe Tate, I used to grow up listening to him on WWE in Cleveland. Used to fall asleep listening to him and Jim Durham, who did the Chicago Bulls at the time. WCFL.
Oh, up and down.
Yep, it's a traveling violation on Corey Maggette. Turnovers in the game. The Suns have got 10, the Clippers have got 12.
Talk about the presence of Elton Brand tonight. He has 38 points of his 17 field goals. 9 of them are in the paint, so it's 18 points in the paint. That talks about the expanding game. Kevin, you said earlier in our telecast that 70% of his field goals are outside the paint. Well, tonight he has 9 in the paint, 8 outside.
How about that? Cassell is back in now for the LA Clippers in the final 8 minutes of this game in regulation. Look at the driving Diao. And to think a year ago at this time, Doug, he wasn't even thinking about the playoffs. He had just come off a season where he sat a lot on the Atlanta bench.
Most improved player of the league.
Look at Marion and Cassell battling here with the matchup. Now Diao on the switch defensively. They got Bell on Maggette. And Marion watches Brand. And Livingston over Nash.
See, it's interesting. They got Ross and Livingston on the floor together right now. The Suns are going to make those guys make shots. Sean Livingston's a terrific penetrator, but the weakest part of his game is his jump shooting. Let's see how long Mike Dunleavy stays with this group.
Oh, that's a foul on Brand. Diao had made a little fake, a deft move, and Brand bit. That's a second on Elton. There's 7:15 to play in regulation. Well, there's not a lot of size, although the Clippers are deceptive, and we talked about this earlier. They're so long. Here comes Kaman as we say that, shedding his warm-ups, and will check in the 7-footer for the LA Clippers. Now he is 4 inches taller than Diao, who has been guarding him tonight.
Yeah, but Diao has the quickness. If he takes him out on the perimeter, he can drive the ball. And with Elton Brand out of the lineup now, there are no shot blockers back there. Take the ball to the basket if you're Phoenix.
Nash against Kaman. Diao with Kaman right there.
Just like that. Take the ball to the basket. There's no shot blocking, and Kaman cannot guard Diao with his quickness. Mike Dunleavy's going to have to take a look at the team he has on the floor right now.
entire fourth quarter so far has been played in a 6-point range.
An offensive foul on Kamen, so he comes in the game. Diao drives him, and then he gets an offensive foul with his right arm as he tried to post. Watch his right arm. The minute this gets away from your body, it's a foul. That is a foul right there. Diao sells it to the officials, but you're not going to get away with that in the NBA.
Kamen, number 3. Nash. Both teams shooting over 52%. Nash dropping it into Marion. Another Kamen foul.
That two-man game with Nash and Diao has been their best play throughout the Lakers series and tonight. It's caused all kinds of problems. You got to switch on it. You had now Kamen trying to guard Nash. He drives and finds Marion. More importantly, you have a 90% free throw shooting team now shooting free throws the rest of the way.
They took it away from Kamen. They gave the penalty to Livingston, who picks up his second. The Phoenix Suns tonight, a pristine 19 of 19 from the free throw line. They were the #1 free throw shooting team in terms of percentage in the NBA, but they took the fewest number of free throws average per game, 18 a game. That's the lowest in NBA history for a single season.
Well, if they're going to win the free throw line and the three-point line the way they are tonight, it's going to be tough for the Clippers.
Foul on Nash and the driving Livingston as the Phoenix Suns are enjoying a 6-0 mini run here against the LA Clippers. It's the second on Steve.
How much longer will Elton Brand stay on the bench? And also you have for the Phoenix Suns, when will we see Kurt Thomas come back in the game? He's been the guy to make the big shots. Wow, look at Sean Livingston on that baseline.
Tim Thomas.
Tim Thomas, yes.
They wish they had Kurt Thomas.
There we go.
Yeah. Thomas has 5 fouls. Nash and Barbosa wide open.
Confidence.
Did Ross get tangled up? Is that why he was so late getting out there?
Well, they got a screen here on the weak side, and that's three-point line now. Plus 27 points at the three-point line for the Phoenix Suns.
We saw assistant Dan D'Antoni on the bench. Ross with the miss. Rebound by Sean Marion, who's had a monster game in terms of rebounding and scoring, 16 and 15 rebounds.
We'll get a timeout here to the score. We're going to get Elton Brand back in the game. He and Mobley.
When the game was tied at 101 with 8.5 left, the Suns have outscored the Clippers in that time 11-2. In the first round, the Clippers met the Denver Nuggets and beat them 4-1.
Well, look at this now. They loaded up on Carmelo Anthony because they knew he didn't have any shooting with him. So the Denver shoots 38%, only 87 points, 22% from the three-point line. Well, Kevin, let me put that in perspective. In a 5-game series, Denver hit 15 three-point shots. Tonight, the Suns have hit 10. They're plus 27. You can't load up on the Phoenix Suns like you're playing against one great player because they spread you out and Nash will find open people. It's a much different team when you have to defend against this kind of team than when you can gear your defense to try to stop one guy with no three-point shooting.
Phoenix Suns shooting 70% from the field in this fourth quarter. Just saw Mike D'Antoni, last year's NBA Coach of the Year, who is celebrating his 55th birthday today.
Went right in the post to Livingston against Nash.
It's a foul on Steve, and Nash is hit with his third foul of the game. Doug, of all the numbers you were going to watch tonight, the three-point shooting was one that you really had circled.
When you play the Suns, you've got to defend that line. There's going to be a foul on Raja Bell pushing. That's not a foul you want to commit. Corey Maggette could not have made that shot. Now he's going to go to the line, stop the clock. Very good free throw shooter to try to pull his team back to 7. There's still a lot of time left in this game. We've seen so many surges where teams have gone 14-2 or 15-4 in stretches here tonight. So the Suns have to keep scoring.
Maggette now 3 of 4 from the free throw line. In the Denver series, he was 22 of 25. He played well in the last 3 games of that Denver series. Doug, he averaged 22 points for the victorious Clippers.
Well, when he's on his game, he will get to the end of that lane. He will dunk on you. He will get to the free throw line. Tonight, he's making his jump shot.
6 of 8. Sal is working on Barbosa. Nash, Bell, shot clock at 3.
Oh, what a shot.
Raja Bell.
What a shot. Elton Brand coming over, shot clock winding down. Left-hander off the glass to push the lead back to 9.
They double Livingston with 10 on the clock, and he throws it away. That is turnover number 14 for the Clippers.
Interesting, Mobley's been on the bench a long time. I know he has not shot the ball well tonight, but he's a very experienced player.
Bell for 3. Phoenix Suns have hit their last 6 consecutive shots from the field.
Is this shooting electric for this crowd or what? This team was flat coming out in the second half. They've made every shot.
Halftime, the Clippers led it by 5. Sam Cassell is down at the other end. A measured 3 by Barbosa. Cassell is still down. It's 5 on 4. Wide open, Barbosa for 3.
He should have driven the ball to the basket. He was so open at the three-point line. See, in college, they'll stop the game. In the NBA, you got to take a timeout to get your guy off the court. Elton Brand, I think, cracked him inadvertently.
The LA Clippers have their largest deficit of the playoffs right now. Yep, he did.
Inadvertent with his right hand, he comes across the face of Sam Cassell. Looks like he got him up in the eye area. We'll have to see if it messes with Sam's vision at all. But the Suns have pushed this lead to 15. Remember, it was 99 all. Nash walked up to get to the 100 barrier. Since that point in time, Phoenix has been on a run. That three-point shooting is absolutely devastating. You think you're in the game, and they just riddle you from the outside.
Nash, the second point guard to win back-to-back MVPs along with Magic Johnson. Timeout. Let's check out tonight's Wendy's making the right decision play of the game. Phoenix Suns were the #1 shooting team this past season in the NBA. Not surprisingly, they were the #1 assist team in the league as well.
The Suns average a little over 10 three-point makes a game. Tonight they have 11. You see the balance. Kevin, to put this in perspective, what the three-point shot does. The Clippers are shooting 58% from the floor. The Suns 53%, but the Suns are plus 30 from the three-point line. And what's happened is the turnovers have started creeping up on the Clippers too. 14 turnovers that have led to 18 points. Mike Dunleavy said we got to take care of the ball. We got to get the ball inside. We got to be efficient. I don't think he expected the Suns to shoot the ball the way they have tonight.
Doug, both coaches talked about tempo heading into this series. What's been your read on how the Clippers have handled the rip-roaring fast tempo of the Phoenix Suns?
Well, they can't play at that pace because it opens up threes. There's going to be the foul. Suns have 117 points. They're looking at a 125-point game. Now, I know the Clippers came in here in April 5th, and beat this team in a high-scoring game, but not a steady diet because you run Elton Brand and these big guys out of the game when you play at that kind of tempo, and they can't defend the three-point line. They just spread you out.
Some outstanding individual performances tonight. Nash has 24 points and 11 assists. 22 from Bell. Off the bench, Barbosa's put in 15 for the Clippers. 38 points in 39 minutes for Brand. 19 for Cassell, who had a streak of 5 consecutive hits. And then we've got 17 off the bench from McGetty. And we know that this is a carryover from the first series against the Clippers. 100 points and 45% or better from the field means wins.
Now tonight they're sitting at 117, shooting 53%.
Marion. Nash.
was that pick and roll once again. Nash and DL, they've had no answers. You got the switch now. Nash against Radmanovic, and he steps back and buries the three. That is their bread and butter play that they've come through. Nash and DL screen roll. What are you going to do? You're going to switch, you're going to trap, whatever it is, Nash is going to find the answers.
That's 33 points above the arc. The Suns over the Clippers. 12 threes, the most in this postseason. Cassell inside for 2. And the foul on Sean Marion, number 4. And Sam Cassell has got 22 points, 15 authored in the second half for Sam Cassell.
Sam Cassell gave them that big lift. Remember when the Suns came out and took the lead with a quick spurt to start the second half into the third quarter, and Sam Cassell went to work at like 5 straight shots to put him into the lead once again. But since that point in time, he's been rather quiet.
Suns have led by as many as 13 points. The Phoenix Suns leading now by 10. Marion now 12. The Clippers had a big lead of 8 points earlier in the game.
And here we go again. Sean Marion, second half, 12 points, 8 rebounds after sort of a quiet first half, 6 points and 7 rebounds.
It's Cassell for 3. He's got 26 points. With Brand out with a little bump on Nash. Nice rejection inside. Barbosa couldn't get it. Brand with the block. He's got 4. Cassell the other way. Sam's got 28.
Still a game here, 7 points. The Suns will let you back in it because they'll shoot some long shots. Go back to Dial again. Once again, there's that screen roll.
The slashing Barbosa. Dial inside. That's an offensive foul on the Phoenix Suns. Barbosa will pick it up. Doug tagged with his 5th.
Mike Dunleavy takes a timeout here to set up a play, move the ball to half court, set up a play so they don't use much time. Make sure he gets the ball in the hands of the right man and gets the shot that he wants. Still plenty of time, only down 7, 1:28 to go. We've seen stranger things happen in NBA basketball.
Doug, coming into tonight, here were your 4 things, the 4 areas that you were going to look at.
Well, Nash has been brilliant, 27 and 12. Elton Brand's been brilliant with 38 points, 17 of 21. The benches have basically offset themselves. Look at the three-point line, plus 30. So the Clippers come out tonight, they're shooting 60% from the floor, and they're down 7 because they're getting beat 30 points at the three-point line.
Doug, the Suns have had a string of good shooting games. The last 3 games, 6 against the Lakers. They shot 57%. Game 7 against the Lakers, they shot that record-breaking 61%. Tonight, shooting 54%.
And if you factored in the three-point shooting, they will probably actually be in real shooting over 60% because they have 12 three-point field goals, which is 36 points. That would be the equivalent of 18 field goals.
Yeah. Getty is in with Cassell, Brand, Livingston, and Radmanovic. That's the Clipper 5. Bell, Dial, Marion, Nash, and Barbosa, the 5 out there for the Phoenix Suns. Livingston picked up by Barbosa, and his pass hits ricochets off the rim.
Well, they set a play up to get a three-point shot for Cassell over in the corner. Looked like the play was open. It was the same play that Greg Popovich ran for Brent Berry against Sacramento, but he hit the backboard.
Clippers have 15 turnovers. 5 have been tossed away in this 4th. Nash, inside, and fouled on the play.
The MVP just put the exclamation point on his night. Yesterday, Sean Marion's birthday. Tonight, Mike D'Antoni turns 55. And here is Steve Nash, just wheeling and dealing in the lane, finishing at the basket. A chance for a three-point play. Looks like it got cracked pretty good in his nose. It won't hurt quite as bad if you go up 1-0 in the series.
29 points for Steve Nash. He began with the Suns, went to Dallas, and had 6 very successful years as the first free throw of the game is missed by Phoenix. His second year with the Suns now in his second stint. Cassell with the miss. Brand trying to dig it out. Can't even breathe inside. Here is Radmanovic. And Baghetti over Nash for 3. Rebound claimed by Cassell. The open Radmanovich for three. That is only the third three trained by the Clippers tonight. Nash the other way with his 29 and 12 assists.
So now you got to foul the #1 free throw shooting team in the playoffs. Here's Steve Nash. Exactly what happened against the Lakers. Remember when he dribbled over into that corner? He wants to keep the ball in his hands because he's the best free throw shooter.
Then he's playing a game of Twister over there. Cassell picked up the foul. That's the fourth on him. And Steve will be at the free throw line. So 20 of 21. The Suns tonight at the stripe. That's 95%. Clippers in contrast, not that much worse really. 23 of 29 themselves. Nash.
Again, Kevin, now remember in the regular seasons, the Suns made 14 free throws a game, and the playoffs are making almost 20. So something that was not good for them in the regular season
isn't that interesting?
Is become an advantage here in the playoffs. They just didn't get to the line in the regular season.
Remember the first game against the Los Angeles Lakers, 35 trips to the stripe.
Made 32, and that was the difference in the game.
It looks like Phoenix is going to take a 1-game-to-none lead in this series with just under 28 seconds to play. Busy couple days coming up for the TNT broadcasting family. Tomorrow on TNT, Detroit-Cleveland Game 2 and San Antonio-Dallas Game 2. Wednesday night, Doug and I will be back here in Phoenix with Game 2, Clippers and Suns. That will be after the Miami-New Jersey Game 2. And New Jersey tonight winning against Shaq and Dwayne Wade at the American Airlines Center.
Yeah, problems, though, look like Richard Jefferson twisted his ankle in that game. He's a big part of that team. They're going to need him back, obviously. And there's people text messaging to watch TNT Suns win.
Thank you, Mark Maroldi. The Clippers have turned it over, Doug, 15 times, and the Suns have cashed in with 20 points.
Well, you can't give those kind of points to the Suns off turnovers, because what you do is you get a lot of three-pointers. So they're plus 11 points off turnovers, and now plus 27 at the three-point line. That's not a good prescription, even when you've got Elton Brand in the post looking for his 40th point here, which he gets.
How about that? Suns so far have scored 70 second-half points. So in this being one of the highest-scoring games in the playoffs we've had. Foul on Cassell. As Marion was trying to corkscrew out of that, and Sam's been assessed his 5th personal foul.
All right, so you're the assistant coach of the Clippers, and you say, okay, who can we foul here now? Nash is 92%, Diaw 88, Marion 94, Tim Thomas 82.
These are playoff averages.
Barbosa 96, Raja Bell 93, and oh, by the way, James Jones 1,000%, so or 100%. So who are you going to foul over there?
For now, 23 of 24. The Suns coming up. Inside is coming up next. EJ, the Jet, and Sir Charles. He has had a talk with Kobe Bryant after Saturday night calling him selfish. That'll be interesting. It was a very interesting second half. That's a non-call. Barbosa from Diaw.
Barbosa's second half, Marion's second half. The brilliance of Steve Nash and the incredible three-point shooting. That's the recipe for a big win here to go up 1-0.
Maggette for 3. And Corey Maggette has 20 points. Brand had 40, but it wasn't enough. And the Phoenix Suns have gone up 1-0 in this first game of the Western Conference semifinals. Both teams shot terrific tonight. The Clippers almost 60%, the Suns 55%. Let's check out tonight's closer of the game, presented by TNT's own show, The Closer. New season is on deck, and Nash, the MVP for a second consecutive season with 31 and 12. And he was terrific in every way. Suns shot 60% in the second half alone. Now, Doug, game 1 is a feel-out game, and game 2, one of adjustments.
Well, it's going to be tempo. That the Clippers are not going to win in a 130-point game, and We got Steve Nash standing by over there with Craig Sager. I'm sure the MVP is taking a deep sigh of relief over there going up 1-0, Craig.
I think you're probably right. They shoot 60%. Elton Brand puts up 40, but you guys came out with a win. Coach told us at halftime you had to refocus. Talk about pulling this game out.
Yeah, well, it was a great win, first of all. I mean, they played great. Obviously, Elton's a handful for us, but on a night like tonight, he was on fire. He would have done that against a team with a big guy as well. So, you know, we just kind of hung in there. We made a lot of mistakes in the first half. In the second half, we really picked it up, and just our energy, enthusiasm, we made some big shots and kind of overcame their hot shooting.
With all the emotion before the game, receiving the MVP, is it kind of an uncomfortable situation then to have to go out and play a game?
A little bit. It's not that uncomfortable. I kind of enjoyed it. I try to enjoy it. You know, it's not really my style to be singled out like that, but I just try to have as much fun as I can and, you know, be contagious for my teammates and allow them to really be loose and have a good time.
Obviously, the advantage for you guys is on the perimeter. You're outside shooting. Theirs is inside. Tonight, you're outside shooting the three-point line. What's the difference in the game? Is that the way this series will continue?
Well, I think that our team has to have some balance. You know, we got to use our quickness, our spacing, get inside for some easy ones, draw and kick for some threes. You know, I think there's a great balance there. So if they're going to take away some of our penetration on our spacing, then we got to make some threes. If they're going to stay with shooters, we're going to get some plays inside. But, you know, the key for us is just to keep the ball moving, keep our legs going, and get everyone up and down the court, and you know, take away that height advantage.
Congratulations on the MVP and another MVP performance tonight.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, Sags, our producer tonight, Scott Cockle, our director, Lonnie Dale. Special thanks to Brian Neer, Bill Eamon, Bob Basile, Gary Hasselness, Matt Cunningham, Todd Regenbogen, and Marion Franta, our statistician, Pat McGrath. For Doug Collins, Craig Sager, and the rest of our crew, Kevin Harlan saying goodnight from Phoenix. Now let's take you to our TNT Arena and Ernie Johnson.